Today's the start of the Cascade challenge. I've really changed my mindset around these tournaments recently because, one, my mindset obviously hasn't been working, and two, I think it's honestly similar to the way that Gannon talks about making aggressive shots, where you can only be as aggressive as you are good at disc golf. And I think I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit on my expectations compared to how good I have become. And even just the time that I've been able to put in to like getting good at golf versus like physically on myself and working on this channel. My goals haven't changed long term, but how I approach them I think is definitely changing, where I'm really treating these tournaments as a hobby for now, because that's really ultimately what it is. And seeing it in that light will make my ability to create more and better content a little bit easier, especially being on the road. We're just gonna try to have fun this weekend. Goal is to cash. So I tee in 8 minutes, and I accidentally looked at scores. Not that it matters too much, obviously, but Nicholas Antela, who wasn't signed up until like 2 days ago, is 7 down through 8 on this course. I feel like this is like such a European feeling course. It's Shelton Springs here in Shelton, Washington. Beautiful. Hole 1, 280 right there. Everything is like pretty gettable, but you gotta like hit your lines and then make some putts. So of course he's gonna be doing well. I don't think I have a score goal for today. Just try to play well, putt 80+% inside the circle, maybe miss a couple, but try to make everything I can and just have fun out there, because this course is honestly such a blast to play. And no 3 putts. That's the main putting goal. No 3 putts. Hopefully not too many 2 putts.
Next on the tee, Anthony Bonanza.
I played the first round with Colton Montgomery, and he stole Jeff over here to give us an intro for hole 1, which is a blast because there wasn't supposed to be a starter. I'm deciding to throw my NV. Hole 1's about 270 feet, and my wife isn't here for me this first day. She still had to work on Friday, so I had to film my own shanks. I didn't get too much coverage from today's round. It did end up taking a par there after a really good upshot with my A2. My P&W swing stamp is out if you want to snag it. I ended up overshooting hole 2 and missing a 45-foot putt, tapping in from about 22, but I knew hole 3 was a seeming must-give birdie at just under 1,000 feet for a par 5. I threw my Roman in bounds, even though someone was yelling at me right in my backswing, pitched up, and have this with my MV to try to take a birdie. Which I do.
Just missed my first circle 1 putt from right there. Honestly, it was a really good putt. Just lifted in the wind, which I knew it would, but it lifted more than I expected. So I guess I aimed just a little too high off the band though, and like super slow. So it came in, clanked off of it, and I tapped it in. So I'm 2 over because I had a really bad throwing hole. I've honestly not been putting myself in the circle very much. So only 1 birdie so far and a triple bogey. But we're only through 7. There's plenty of holes left. This next one's a birdie hole, and there's a lot of birdie holes left. So try not to think about it in that way. Just try to take my opportunities, and that one was slightly missed, but I can't be too mad about that. Just threw a shot that I'm hoping is safe because it hit in bounds but kicked back left. Okay, half in, half out. Let's go. Jeez, that's scary. Thank you, Cap Rep. So I got back to even, and then I just took a double bogey. Really unfortunate. Both my triple and my double are from really early kicks on like pretty good shots. I just missed them by a little bit. This one I was like literally less than an inch high. The other one I was like barely off on the speed, and then I ended up making some pretty bad scrambling decisions. So it's definitely on me, and a little bit of like anxiety coming in. Back to 2 over, so plenty of holes to get back under par, but been frustrating roller coaster round. So that's I cannot believe that went safe, but I have a look from way back here just to throw in and hopefully get a birdie in the last hole. I thought I chucked it out of bounds because I just got a little flippier throughout this round, but now I gotta look in for birdie. Jeez, that's lucky. Holy cow. Part worst. Weak sauce. It was kind of crazy today because I have been putting so bad. And today I made 2 circle 2 putts, and I missed 1 circle 1 putt. I missed a lot of like 35 to 55 footers, just like you saw in that last hole. A lot in that same vein, right on line, just a little low, a little timid, which shows you it comes down to getting into the green, because now I'm actually putting well. And the only putt I missed was one where the wind lifted it. It was from like 32 feet, so barely inside the circle. Lifted it into the band and hit it. But I thought it was good out of my hand, and so like I've putt well all day long. I just couldn't throw the disc. We're 2 over, and it really comes down to 3 bad shots. because overall I didn't play bad except for 3 holes where I took bogey or worse. In all 3 of those holes, I was a collective like 1.5 feet off of my line. 1 of them was like 1 inch, and then 2 of them were actually with my Sphinx, funny enough, and just a little bit too fast. But I needed them to turn right, and so I just missed my aim. I should have just aimed a little left or just a little more like flat or hyzer. And it's not like the kicks were like the thing that did it in. It was the scrambling decisions afterward. And so I think just taking a little extra time on my scrambling decisions, just like I'm scrambling your guys' eyeballs right now, will be the key, because I scrambled really well for the most part, except for scrambling into landing zones, because I took a triple on a par 4 and a double on a par 4. I think the key is just going to be telling myself which landing zones I want to hit and where I want to go. Obviously, doing better off the tee will help that. But if I can get myself into circle 1 more, I'll be making a lot more birdies, because I had 6 over par strokes and I finished 2 up. And I'll show you where my round is in my rating, and I'm about to go check that. And I'm guessing 955, 960. Here's my stats, by the way, right there. So I check ratings. Nicholas right now, unofficially 1100 rated. I think it's going to be like 1098 or something, unfortunately. But his 14 under par for round 1 is ridiculous out here. My round is better than I thought. I think it still has time to like break down, but it's 978 is what they're calling it, which I guess shows you the power of putting. Like, I felt like I was missing everything. I wasn't shanking stuff, but I was just a little bit off. Funny thing is, if I don't get those 6 over par strokes, which were very much in my power to not do, I would have a 1024 rated round. So instead of the putting letting me down, it's just those. But so far, I'm putting really well, and I'm really happy about that. And the cash, I'm probably 3 or 4 strokes out of the cash. Try to actually take some money home from one of these tournaments for once in my life this year. Hey, so previously, I think I'd be really pissed at this round because of how poorly I threw the disc and how tired I was and all this stuff. But I'm actually relatively proud of this round, which is like a weird feeling, but I'm like gonna let myself feel that, obviously, because you should let yourself feel your feelings. But it's like cool, because I'm just very proud that like my Nate Sexton index, which is missing circle 1 putts plus making circle 2 putts, essentially, is like how many more you've made circle 2 putts than missed circle 1 putts. It was positive today for the first time in a long time, maybe all year, and probably like way more than that. But like, that's awesome. Like, I was positive in my putting, is the way I like to think about it, meaning I made more circle 2 than I missed circle 1. And like, I'm just really proud of that, even if this round overall wasn't that good. And I know that like I've done so much work on my throwing that we've talked about this before on the channel, how like for me, I know that in getting really, really good at disc golf, you're gonna need to get all the skills, and it's very, very unlikely that they're all gonna come together at the same time. And so if now I'm getting the skills of like putting well or better during tournament rounds, not circle 2 but circle 1, like, great, that's what I need, and that's okay. And that means that everything else can come together. Maybe it comes together this week, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it comes together in Portland, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't come together like this whole entire year. But as long as I continue stacking all these skills, eventually they'll all come together. At least that's my thought. Maybe it's wrong, but I'm proud of this round, and I'm gonna let myself feel that. And yeah, that's good. Beautiful scenes to wake up to out here. Check that out. But it is quite windy, so that's gonna make things interesting today. Name of the game, no bogeys, and if we do that, we'll be happy. I think I thought the scores needed to be better than they were for like a good round, but I luckily wasn't actually thinking about scores that much yesterday. The round rated down slightly, like 974. I'm 3 strokes out of the cash right now. All can be made up just without making silly mistakes and playing the same exact game. But yeah, let's just do that. It's kind of crazy to hear the wind ripping through all like the trees back there. Also, I did putt fully yesterday with these marbles, which I really liked. So I've realized I need to beat some other ones in, obviously, so I have backups of these because I've had these for about 2 weeks longer than the rest of them. So that shouldn't take too long. I did get a lot of reps in with them. These are snacks that I typically bring. Banana, because of my name, and it's a supercharger for me, you know? It's like a power-up. Except I did miss a shot after I ate it. Who cares? Some sort of protein bars. Doesn't really matter the brand, and then some beef jerky. I don't know. It's just stuff to get satiated, mostly. It's a little chilly out here today, so less than ideal. I overthought a lot yesterday, I noticed, and I still, like, I'm playing very scared. I need to just be, not like aggressive, but like as aggressive as I can be, because I've just been really scared. I've been like, okay, don't miss the shot, don't miss the shot, don't miss the shot. And then sometimes I'll miss, sometimes I won't, but if I do miss, I'll miss to where I thought about missing to. So today, I'm just gonna try to think about getting birdies. On the tee, think about getting birdies, and then that should put me in the circle more often than not. If I do end up with like a bad shot, then I can start thinking about, okay, save par. But off the tee, think about getting birdies. The most famous Finland YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Nah, maybe not ever, but
in the history of everything.
At least playing bad here. History.
Let's do it. Not play bad. Let's not do that.
So, getting started on hole 1, I decided to throw the same NV. You can kind of hear the wind ripping through these trees a little bit. And today you will see when we get out into some of these open holes just how windy it got. I wasn't really expecting that for kind of northwest Washington-ish. Ended up throwing a pretty decent shot. Actually better than pretty decent. I thought this was the next day, no spoilers, but get just past the basket. End up tapping that in, so I just want to make sure that the putting continues to feel good. And that definitely did feel good. I'm feeling like I'm putting a little bit slower, a little bit more deliberate, especially being a little better rested today than I was the day before. And then you hear the wind, and I'm not honestly too mad about missing that putt low. I'd much rather putt it low thinking that it might lift. Of course, I'd rather putt it to where it would ever have a chance of going in the basket. But hole number 2, you're going to see some crazy stuff. Or 3, you're going to see some crazy stuff with this disc. And this is what was happening all day. I decided to still throw my Roman instead of a faster driver, which maybe I should have thrown a faster driver just because there was so much more tailwind, and a slower disc is going to be like dropped a little bit easier. But I have my Bud Emperor to throw through the gap because I did get stopped up a little shorter than I'm used to throwing this hole. And I thought that I just absolutely laced this line. Unfortunately, I hit this kind of tree cluster, which leaves me with a pretty awkward up and down. I'm not the best at these standstill chop forehands, especially with very specific like windows to get through things. I decided to throw my Firebird, which is pretty unstable at this point because I wasn't quite sure whether that or the cap wrap would have been best. I probably should have thrown the Captain's Raptor, but I'm able to pitch up. Not a great pitch up, and I still have about 22 feet to save my par. The putt is continuing to feel pretty good. I especially like that after missing hole 2 with an inside the circle putt from about the same distance. I know the wind was different, but sometimes, especially having a history of putting so poorly for so long for me, I was like, maybe I'm just a bad putter now. Maybe yesterday was an anomaly. And so putting that one in there was a pretty big confidence boost. I throw my Halo Pharaoh with the PNW stamp and doesn't quite get up, so I throw my Glow Zone with the PNW stamp. Shout out to him. And we end up tapping in our par. So we're kind of playing boring golf at this point. We're 1 under, but boring golf is good golf, especially on a course that is as difficult as the Shelton Springs track is, where even is playing 990, 980, something like that. Getting a couple under par is going to get you decently under 1,000 rated. End up pitching up a little short. And out of my hand, I thought that this was in the basket, but I just ended up throwing it slightly around, and I like how floaty and nose up that bid was because it didn't let me go too far, even if the tree hadn't stopped it. Next hole, I'm throwing my cap wrap, and I thought I absolutely laced this line. Was hoping for a little bit of a skip, and they're asking if it got skippy, but I didn't honestly know. And unfortunately, I hit a little bit of this tree cluster, this stump right in front of me. Pitch up, would love to run it, but just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Like hopefully the wind lifts that in the basket.
Kind of putt that I really just want to lay up. So I keep getting a little frustrated because I'm like not getting birdie, and then I'm realizing I need to be patient. Obviously, the birdies will come. Because the birdies will come later this round, and I was like, well, maybe they'll come tomorrow. And then I'm like, well, maybe they'll never come. But you kind of have to like live in the space where you're believing that the birdies will come, and like playing as if that's the case, because that's like the safest way to play. So I'm not like trying to be stupidly over aggressive when I'm just trying to cash.
Of course, my goal in all these rounds is to play as best as I possibly can, but there's of course a little bit of a ratings goal as well. I love to shoot above 1,000 rated for most of my rounds. I know that I have the skills to do it, just not the consistency to put it all together right now. But hole 7, after being 1 down through 6, only getting the first birdie and the rest pars, I throw my Roman because of how much wind you saw just played through the gap. Making that putt was honestly super confidence-inducing. There's so much headwind, and to be able to put that in from not quite the bullseye, maybe 20, 22 feet, helps me to lead into the next hole, hole 8, a 560-foot par 4, with a little bit of confidence. I don't throw the best shot, hits a tree, don't throw the best upshot with my A2, and I have a just close to edge of circle putt that I'm able to make. And the putting is continuing to feel good, which I'm really stoked on. Hole number 9, decided to get very lucky with my Metal Flake Color Glow Chariot.
I'll take that.
And I definitely take that. Puts me again to about 28, 29 feet. And I put it in. So we get a turkey. 4 down through 9.
One interesting thing that I'm realizing about myself right now is instead of like making all these putts and me getting more and more confident, my history with putting has me making all these putts and being like, well, can't last forever. And so these last 2 putts have been a little farther, obviously, than you want. They're closer to the edge of circle, maybe about 28 feet or so. And I'm having to talk myself off the ledge that I'm going to miss it and just trust that, hey, just go through your motion, pick a chain or like just an aim point and make the putt. And it's been happening. So hopefully we can continue. Not like going to force myself or like get mad if it doesn't, but just continue to try to play clean golf. And if we stay clean, we're doing really well around already. If we were to par out, is really good. But let's try to find some birdies. And if we do find bogeys, like, not fret about them. But let's try to make as many birdies as we can. That's still the goal, is birdie every hole that I can.
Hole 10 is one of those birdie holes for sure, as long as you can get out of this first gap. 520-foot par 4. I throw my captain's raptor, and my forehand is feeling pretty solid.
It's almost sound like to formally apologize.
It's just a weird looking forehand.
You're sorry. You're good.
This shot I threw with my Conqueror because of a big headwind. I thought I threw it perfect, but there's a stump there that you can see from where I threw, so I probably should have thrown it over the stump. Get a par. Unfortunate, because that did feel like a birdie hole, and at this point I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated by just the accumulation of pars. I feel like I'm giving myself some opportunities. I'm just like a little bit off still, but I'm still 4 down through 10 holes, and I knew that that was 10-20 rated before. My wife wants you to buy some of the PNW swing stamp, I guess, so I end up throwing that mana on hole 12, 595-foot par 4. I barely missed this shot the other day, just threw it a little high, and it hit like the cross branch that you probably don't even notice is there, that I did not notice was there. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit on the right side of this fairway, and I end up throwing my cap wrap, cuts out just after I end up throwing, but I get to about 45 feet. I love that I'm dropping at least one circle 2 putt around right now. It feels great. There were some people who were following, so massive shout out and thank you guys for watching the round. And if you guys are ever at a tournament that I'm at and you want to follow, it's definitely not weird. I'm honestly getting better and better and better about not feeling weird myself about it, as I just get more confidence in my game and I just get more experience of knowing that people are there to watch me play. It is a little weird because I'm like not the best in the world, but I really appreciate all of you guys' support. So if you're ever around, feel free to come and watch. I really enjoy it and love talking to you guys after the rounds. I ended up throwing my zone. I was debating what to throw out of this scramble, and it leads me to about 33 feet, just outside of the circle. Ended up putting a little bit different because I was a little worried about a slight right to left wind. It got in my head, and I put myself to 30 feet instead of my putt that I've been trying to drop next to the basket, so I never 3-putt, but I've been making them inside the circle. Unfortunately, I just never really get that one up. It rolls back to about 18 feet. And I'm able to put that in. Unfortunate double bogey after being 5 down through 12 brings me to 3 down. And I know that that's still a good score, so I'm just hoping to continue to play my game. But these last 5 holes are the hardest stretch on the course, in my opinion. End up throwing my Roman, which gets sneaky, and now I throw my flippier Roman, my Texas swing stamped one that's I've been beating in for a while. Don't quite get around and over everything because this is a pretty long par 4. Tap in a par, which I'm happy with because that one can feel like a par 5 at times. And then my my lucky metal flake color glue chariot is not lucky anymore. So I'm back here thinking about how the heck do I get out of this jungle. I see that I could just pitch out to the fairway, or there's a small gap that I can try to get through with an overhand. It was the only way that I could get to the basket, and I knew that if I got to the next rough, I would be able to scramble up to the basket and take my 4 either way. So I decided to go through that instead of pitching out to the fairway, giving myself some sort of chance at birdie, which I am not able to make happen. Throw a pretty solid shot on 16 with my Sphinx. Tap in my par there. And so being 2 down after being 5 through 12 makes me want to get these last 2 really bad. End up throwing hole 17 with my Roman, which decided to get lucky on hole 14. And that tree is awesome.
Oh, wow. Great kick.
Generous tree. I'll kiss that one up there.
Puts me just outside the bullseye, maybe about 15, 16 feet. Able to tap that in. The putting still feels good, even though I had a couple mishaps. 18 is a really beautiful finishing hole that you really want something that moves left to right. When you throw your Roman on hyzer and it's a new Halo 1, it's not going to flip for you. So, unfortunately, I'm just a little bit left. I'm looking at what can I do to try to get up and down for birdie, but more than likely know that it's going to be a par. So, basically, how can I throw in a safely aggressive shot? A shot that I know I'll be able to get up and down if I miss, but gives myself a chance. I don't quite give enough angle or maybe too much. Pitch up, take a par.
I got really frustrated in the middle there because I just kept taking like the silly bogeys, and then the last 3 holes, they went all right. I was hoping for some more birdies, hoping to get back to like 5 under, but again, it wasn't like about getting back to a score. It was just shooting as best I could. This round, I don't know. I was proud of yesterday's round for putting. Proud of today's round for putting as well, actually. Let me finalize real fast and see how we ended up actually putting on the day. I went off the fairway, circle 1, basket from the bullseye was all right. 82%. I said 80+% C1X, so that's pretty good. I missed just those couple circle one putts. 25% from C2, which I'm pretty happy with, and it really just comes down to I was only 33% greens in regulation, circle one, and I was 33% birdies. So get yourself in the green more and I'll get more birdies and scramble a little bit better. I realized on that one putt that I missed bad, I was putting not how I was meaning to putt. I putt really a low to high because I was worried about the wind kind of lifting it. And my putt now I've been working on is a little bit more of kind of dropping it in from the high right side. And so that caused it to lift a little more. So I'll just need to work on that. Let's kind of see where we're at. It was pretty windy, so I guess that this round actually moved me up a decent bit on the leaderboard. Nicholas starting slow, he's even through 2, so he's still only 14 under, which is a little brutal. But wow, I moved up into 31st place. So in the cash right now, there's a lot of evens out there, a lot of scores still to come in, so I could move up or down. I'll fill you guys in later on the day. 3 under round right now, they're calling it 10-18, which I think might get rated down a little bit, but probably not too much. I would guess it'll probably be about 10, 12, 10, 15. So pretty stoked. Hopefully we can finish in the cash tomorrow. Have a good final round. Day 3. Feeling excited. It's a little rainy today, unfortunately, but that's okay. I got a rain jacket, and today's kind of money-making day. I haven't had one of these days yet. I've just been trying to get back in the cash the whole freaking time, but I'm in the cash by 1 stroke, I believe, right now. Cash line is 36, and I'm tied 32, so I was able to move up from 56 or something, so that feels awesome. Today, the name of the game is going to be trying to make some more money, and to do that, it's going to be to change my game plan 0 bit. Up until that one hole where I messed up my putt and 3-putted and then had another silly bogey and kind of lost it a little bit at the end, I was playing really boring but good golf. I would make most of my putt, give myself putts and looks, and pitch up under the basket when I didn't have them instead of trying to do anything silly. It felt really annoying in the moment, but looking back at it, I was like, man, I could have shot 5 or 6 down, and my 3 down was 10-17 rated, so it would have been like 10-30, 10-40 if I was able to shoot that 6 down. Trying to be patient with myself and knowing that the scoring will come and be good, especially on a course like this where I'm not just going to be inside the circle every single shot. I was able to meet a lot of you guys yesterday, some sweet fans. Big shout out to Nathan for this Emperor. I just cannot wait to throw it. It actually feels like super good. I think it's going to be like a 1-for-1 replacement for a disc that I don't even have in my bag right now. The way that it feels, I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. And we're playing Connor Rock today, winner of the LVC, so that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully have a solid final round and not try to do anything crazy, not try to get too desperate, try to take everything in stride, including missed putts, include everything. Just whatever happens. Low expectations again, but I would love to be able to cash today. Also, massive shout out to Chance for hooking it up with one of his old rangefinders. Super generous. I don't think I'll use it today because I've been without a rangefinder for a while, but it's going to be really nice at Portland. And then also for like field work, like figuring out, learning all my distances and angles, because I haven't done that in a while. It's kind of raining out here. Like, it's kind of like if you have the mist filter on in your hose and you're just always spraying it on yourself. That's kind of how rainy it is. So everything can stay wet, but it's not like terrible rain, so it's got to find a way to keep it dry.
Beautiful looking trophy that Niklas was like 10 strokes ahead to try to get. Hole 1, you can see it is raining a good bit, so I got my rain jacket on. Sometimes having too many layers is a little bit difficult just in terms of like the mechanics of throwing, but trying to keep everything dry made it definitely worth it. I got a really good tree kick that put me just here, just outside the circle, and I was a little bit more nervous on these putts than I have been the first 2 days. You might be able to see that because honestly my putting stroke, it looks a little bit different today. Obviously the straddle versus the inline, I just felt a little more confident with that straddle, and that might be a little bit of a theme in this round. Hole number 2, I have my Captain's Raptor. I've missed it both of the first 2 days, and so I wanted to just tone down a tiny bit, and I thought that I absolutely parked this, but I threw it into a headwind putt from about 28 feet, missed it just left side, so still some room to improve. Able to tap in from just outside the bullseye, moving into hole 3, where again there's a tailwind and it's a little bit slick, and so I figured I'd just throw a driver wide, high, and right. That way I didn't have to worry about anything. Put me right in the middle. Didn't throw my Roman just because I wanted the extra just consistency of the driver, but I'm getting a little more aggressive on this shot because of what happened yesterday. I'm throwing my flippy iBlend Emperor on a lot of hyzer, trying to flip it up and ride straight through the right side of this gap, and I could not have really thrown it that much better. I end up skipping way up there, and when you're on a par 5 putting your upshot to try to get the birdie, you're having a pretty good go of it. Tap in from the bullseye, really stoked on that. So I'm 2 through 3, which is a great start, especially on the day that you're trying to make some money. Hole 4 I haven't been able to get yet, but it's about 330 foot in a forehand, and this is going to be the start of something you'll see today. This Halo Pharaoh and me getting along on those hyzer forehands. Not the best lie, But a great putt, 3 through 4. I'm loving this start, and I honestly feel like today is the day that I'm going to put together that really good round and shred, move up a good bit, make a good bit of extra money, because I just wanted to make sure that I was cashing. Threw a pretty solid drive, but my body was lined up right where I ended up throwing that disc. Kicked back to a pretty decent spot, and I'm able to get up and down for the par. No worries at all. But this is where a little bit of the nerves started to get to me, which I don't quite know why. I was throwing the disc very well, but this is an upshot that I took a little bit too much time in my head deliberating, obviously within my 30 seconds, but I put it to outside of the bullseye. And before this, I was like, oh, maybe I should just putt straddle for this round instead of inline. And I didn't even try to step up inline, which is what I've been so confident putting with. And I just got in my head about it. Stepped up inline, put it right in the heart of the chains, and missing that circle one putt felt like one of the worst misses of the weekend. I was really excited for this next hole because I knew that it was a birdie. But I ended up just smacking that first tree, pitching up a big wide hyzer, which gets a little bit lucky hitting some trees because I ended up juicing it super hard, but I have a 30-foot putt. Luckily, it was a little bit of a weird lie, and so since I have a little bit of a weird lie, or am putting to an elevated basket, the straddles want to go in. So that's kind of what I thought for the rest of this round. Hey, if it's an odd lie, go to straddle. Otherwise, just go to the putt that's been working. This hole is a roller hole, and I love this I-blend Faro that I found in the warehouse for these rollers. It's so flippy, but very consistent. Unfortunately, I just throw it way right, give myself not a good lie to scramble from, not able to get up and down from birdie, because this is such a birdie hole. So to not get this one, especially when I took a bogey par on a couple holes that I wanted to get par and birdie on, not super happy about it. End up throwing a pretty decent shot with my MV on hole 9, and gets me just inside the circle. So I have another kind of awkward lie. I'm a little bit of a tiny person, so I don't have a lot of room to the right of that tree to worry about. But if I take my time, I could end up shorting it by like a quarter of an inch.
All right, had a really hot start, and I didn't like fall apart recently, but I think I missed 4 circle one putts already. None of them have been like egregious, and there's been one that's been really bad, but everything else is like, it like is what it is. 2 down through 9. That puts me tied with a lot of other guys on my card. Just trying to look at scoring real fast to see kind of where the cash line is. I'm on it. So everyone's tied for it right now. So that means I still have to continue to play well, you know? So yeah, keep getting birdies. They're out there. I just gotta find them. Just threw my drive here on 10 and realized that I haven't been like accepting everything as it comes. I've been getting frustrated by missing my birdies. I'm gonna try to mentally reset for these last 9. I'm able to do that. I think I can. I mean, I can score. I've been giving myself looks. Like I said, I missed 3 or 4 putts. I could be 5 or 6 down, but gotta stop thinking about that and just thinking about the next shot in front of me. I'm throwing fine, I'm missing more putts than I should be, but they're not egregious. Like, it's stuff that I can clean up. I'm just anxious about putting now on the green, and I haven't been these first couple days. I know it's time to score, and that's getting in my head. So I'll try to figure out how to work through that.
I think that really is what it is. I have a cap wrap here that I'm just throwing a hyzer forehand, and I threw it perfect. At least so I thought. I honestly didn't know that this tree was there, which I should have for my practice rounds. And so I thought I was just going to see it skip up to parked, get to about 45 feet. Not too bad of a putt, but I have about an 18-foot comebacker, which I'm able to put in the basket. So even though I missed 3 circle one putts, nothing's still been egregious. But in my head, as you saw in some of those talking heads that I just had, I did think it was going really badly. And so that caused a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of desperation. I changed my game plan on this hole, and you could see the little fist right there. Silly little guy. End up going to the drop zone because I missed the island and take a bogey on a hole that I would love to birdie, or at least not take worse than a par. Don't really get a hold of that one. I just tried to throw pretty loose, and I didn't end up hitting my hit point. But I throw a pretty good scramble shot out of there with my cap wrap. Debating what to do here, I thought about kind of going down that left side. There's a gap for the forehand, for the backhand. End up having to throw this kind of tight hyzer because I don't have a really good forehand disc that I can get to like glide straight, but that zone is relatively straight, and so I leave myself a pretty difficult putt that I'm able to make. And for some reason in this round, I'm not like recognizing my putting is still fine. I've just made some silly little mistakes. End up throwing probably one of the best forehands that I have thrown in a long time with that Faro. 360-foot hole 13. End up going a little bit long of it, and I'm stuck in this bush from about 18-20 feet. And that was a weird lie, so I was supposed to make that putt. Unfortunately, I think I just rushed it coming up a little bit. The putt is still something I'm actively working on and trying to just get more reps and figure out. So that was really disappointing to take a par, because I knew going down this stretch, I'd been looking at scores that if I basically got one more birdie, I would pretty much guarantee cash. So just go 1 under through the last 6 holes. 2 or 3 under would make obviously more money. But I ended up throwing hole 14 with what I thought was an absolutely perfect shot that was going to get way up the fairway, hit the middle tree, which you know is there off the tee, so I needed to throw it left or right of it. Ended up throwing a couple more shots that I'm not able to get up and down, and tapping in my bogey. We missed the last up shot, but hole 15, and now I'm looking at scores and seeing with that bogey, I need 2 birdies to guarantee cash. 1 has a chance because people could still continue to par out or bogey. And so I'm stepping over this putt, knowing that I was slightly out of the cash and someone who was on my card was about to bogey, which would put me back in the cash if I made the putt. And so I was stoked to be able to clutch up and make that 36-foot putt. Getting my circle 2 putt for the round, I was continuing to make at least one of those every round, which is super sick. 16, ended up throwing a little bit of a lucky shot. Still, it's that Halo Pharaoh, so it just wants to be good for me. And I have about 45 feet to try to get another birdie. Dude, what are you doing? What the heck is that? That's so weak sauce. But ends up being a pretty easy par, which is fine. As long as I par out, I should have a chance at cashing, but 1 more guarantees it and knocks a couple people out of the cash, which means I make a little bit more money. 17, I decided to go back to my Chariot instead of my Roman like I did on day 1 and birdied it. Unfortunately, I just threw the worst putt ever off that tree. And I step onto the tee of 18 knowing that if I birdie this hole, I make money. I end up throwing my flippier Roman, the one that I'd been beating in from the Texas Swing stamp. I thought this was an absolutely perfect drive. I just piped it, threw it exactly perfect. Knew I wouldn't go long OB because it was a slower disc, but I was kind of in no man's land. If I was 30 feet right or left, I had a really good look at the basket. Unfortunately, that was my clap because I knew I needed to get up and down to make some extra money, but there's still a chance that with this par that I'm tapping in, I cash. Let's see.
Got to see some more cool people today. Shout out Diverse Disc Dies for this A2. It's a kind of flatter one. I typically throw the domier ones. I'm gonna test this one out though because I had some shots that weren't as torque resistant as I think, and this I think will pan and fight back a little bit more. So I'm really stoked to have that. Cash line right now is like right where I'm sitting. I think I'm gonna make like $30 or something. I don't even know what the cash is, but 69% circle 1 putting today. I'll show you my stats right here. 20% from circle 2, so not terrible. Oh wait, this is the other day. That was the first day. My putting is better. Like this was the worst day putting, 69% C1X, 20% C2. I had an 83% day and an 89% day, so it averages to probably 75, 80%. Missed a couple too many opportunities today to really move up that leaderboard, but hopefully it's the start of a cash streak as we move into Portland, which just trying to play on Sunday ultimately there. Last round, looks like it's rated about, I'm gonna guess like just under 1,000 probably. Yeah, they're calling it $9.99. I don't think it'll really rate up too much. I'm pretty happy with for having played so poorly. And my putting, I can kind of figuring it out. It's just gonna take a little more practice, a little more reps, a little more time here. But it was nice to feel like the stress of the tournament today and be able to push through that a little bit and end up actually cashing when I needed to. I got the birdie, circle 2 putt when I needed it. I really wanted 1 or 2 more. The rounds are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So hopefully over my next 4 tournaments that I have, we'll be able to put some good stuff together. But thanks for watching. Bye.